Hello everybody, Andy here, and great news, you are tuned in to the #1 Kill Team channel in the world. Do not check that fact. I did it for you, no need for you to waste your time. Much like there is going to be no need for you to waste your time reading the Warcom article, because I'm going to do it for you. Except I'm not actually going to read the Warcom article. There's too much. There is so much. This is a long one, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is a favourite. Because I am ultimately a Xenos lover. You're here for the daily slop. Let's just crack on with it, shall we? Although, I suppose, before I get into... Oh, sorry. We've got all the other Xenos that aren't Eldari. So we're looking at Kommandos, Farstalkers, Hierotek Circle, Brew Brothers, Hernkyn, Hearthkyn. There you go. So a mere 7 factions. Whatevs. Easy peasy. And that's why we don't have time to read the article, the fluff bits. We're just going to read the rules themselves. So, quick note, just an aside. Sorry, I've been thinking about, what I want in a game and how much I miss Kill Team 18. But the reason I miss Kill Team 18, I could just play Grimdark Future Firefight if I wanted to kind of relive that, and probably in a slightly better format, is I just like list building. And somebody pointed out to me that if you want list building in Kill Team, there's really only 2 options. That is Inquisitors and Blades of Cain. And given those 2 options, Blades of Cain every day, because Imperium sucks. Boom. All right, Heretic. Let's go. Okay, Commandos are up first. Throat Slitters. Charge with a Conceal. Exactly the same. This makes sense. It's very, very strong and good and powerful. Cool. They then get Harpoon as a piece of equipment. Once per turning point, a friendly commando, not Bomb Squig and Grot, can use the following range weapon. It's attack 4, hit 4, damage 4, 5. Ooh. Weapon range 8, lethal 5, stun. Has it always been damage 4, 5? That feels really good. I feel like in the last edition, I never ever took Harpoon because it wasn't very useful. But damage 4, 5 is actually pretty damn good. Okay, alright. Fine. Crumpum. Use this firefight ploy at the end of the firefight phase. Select 1 friendly commando operative. It can immediately perform a free fight action. Obviously, outstandingly good, right? Like, yeah, smash them. 1 CP to fight again. That means chances are you're going to be doing what? You'll have a chopper, let's say. So you're doing minimum extra 4 damage. Very good. The only reason you wouldn't use that is because you're saving your CP to use just a scratch. You know that's still there. Let's not even pretend that totally broken rule. Or you're saving a CP to do something else. There you go. No, sorry. Or you don't want to be not in combat for your own safety. Cool. Right, comms boys. So we're still looking at APL2, move 6, save 5, 10 wounds. That's still an amazing stat line. It's all about the 10 wounds with 10 models, which is why Felgor. If you're looking at your team and you have 10 models and you have 10 wounds, you're going to be fine. You're going to do just fine. Don't worry about it. There is no team out with that stat line and that many models that is bad. They're all really good. Okay, Shocker Pistol, attack 6, hit 4, damage 1, 0. Therefore, it's going to have devastating, not mortal wounds. Got to get out of saying mortal wounds. Range 8, devastating 2, severe, stun. Severe, if we recall, is if you don't roll a... Okay, it's either if you don't roll a crit, a miss... a success becomes a normal, or it is if you do roll a crit, a miss becomes a normal. I think those are the 2. One's called severe, one's called something else. But this is one of those. And then listening is just support. Support is the new name for comms. I'm going to have to start remembering to call it support instead of comms now, which makes sense. Support is a better term to call it than comms. Cool. You also got I Got a Plan, lads, which is place marker, pick up marker, or mission action for 1 less AP. Cool. So that didn't tell us much about the Commandos, if I'm honest, because so many people know so much about Commandos. Perhaps, maybe they're a faction I also know, you could argue. But they're not, hasn't told us anything. That feels quite light for Commandos, but you know what? We have so many of these to do. Right, Farstalker. I'm a Kroot guy. I like Tau. I like Kroot. I like Vespids because they're Tau. So I'm excited to read these rules. Farstalker. In the ready step of each strategy phase, you can change the order of up to 3 friendly Farstalker Kinband operatives that are not within control range of enemy operatives. Cool. Whenever it's your turn to counteract, you can change the order of 1 friendly Farstalker Kinband operative that's not within control range of enemy operatives instead. Ah, okay. Interesting. This still counts as you counteracting, so activation alternates back to your opponent afterwards, but doesn't count as that friendly operative's counteraction for this turning point. Okay. So you're doing an order swap instead of shooting, for example. When it's your turn to count, you can change the order of 1 friendly operative that's not within control of enemy operatives instead. Yeah, okay. So this is the kind of thing where if you have more models than your enemy, you can, on your last 3 shots, kind of go loud in slightly riskier positions to get those shots, right? But now also you do a little counteract shenanigan, which means if you have fewer models than your enemy, which will happen, that's how Kroot work, you die real good. Instead of shooting, or if you've just shot, you can do it now so that you can't be shot. Okay, all right. That is kind of the problem with Farstalkers. They have tricks. That's their thing. They're tricksy boys and girls and girl so they're not very good on the data sheet. So you need to know what to do with them. Unfortunately, and this is actually a really, really good point about kill team design, which is because everything in Kill Team is designed with 0 list building, as I was mentioning at the start of this video, it's 100% down to the designers getting everything right. If you end up with a team that isn't strong, it's not your fault, it's the designer's fault, because there is no list building, you didn't mess up, you didn't take the wrong list, you have either played your team into the wrong team and you just aren't supposed to win, or the designers have not made your tricks good enough. Obviously, you could also misplay, but there are legitimately just matchups you don't win because the designers have not correctly balanced the game, which is fine. That's not a negative, to clarify. I mean, it is, but it's not it doesn't have to be a negative. It's just how the game is. It's just, yeah. Because there is no list building, because you always have the perfect version of your list to run into the enemy, you might just lose because you're running the wrong thing. And that's not your fault. It's not like in 40k where you decide to go all anti-infantry and they've gone armor. It's like, well, no, you can't make that mistake in Kill Team. Right, Toxin Shot. Once per turn point, when a friendly Farstalker Kinband operative is performing the shoot action and you select a Kroot rifle, Kroot scattergun, or the focus profile of dual Kroot pistols, you can use this rule. If you do, until the end of that action, that weapon has the lethal 5-up and stun weapon rules. Cool, once per turning point, get lethal 5 stun on a regular rifle or scattergun. Now, here's a bit of the issue with Kroot. Obviously, we're going to look at the one data card we get in a second, but that's not good. Or really, it would have not been good in the last edition. I'm not saying you would never take Toxin Shot. It's just, if you're thinking, how do I win? Well, mate, Kroot don't shoot. Okay, get that on a shirt. Kroot don't shoot. They can, but they're not good. Okay? Maybe you'd put it on a scattergun, I guess. But why? You're slightly stronger in melee, but again, the whole point of Kroot is they're not good, which is a very unfortunate flavour to have for your faction. But yeah, so this doesn't really give you, who knows? Slip away. Use this firefight ploy during a friendly Farstalker Kinband operative's activation. During that activation, that operative can perform the fallback action for 1 less AP. It's somebody left a comment under my last video saying GW thinks that fallback is way more important than GW thinks it is, and I was like, yeah, I reckon it's the same guy that designed the 40k Battle Shock rules, or whatever it's called, because, yeah, it's like, you guys are wildly overvaluing this ability. Cool, right. Kroot Pistolier, APL 2, move 6, save 5, wounds 8. That is standard Kroot. Dual Kroot pistols focused. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3-4, range 8, ceaseless, lethal 5. Cool. And then you've got the Salvo version, which has Salvo instead of ceaseless and lethal 5. Salvo is select 2 valid targets, shoot them both in an order of your choice. So you can either shoot one guy with ceaseless lethal 5, or you can shoot another guy twice, or 2 guys. Now, to put this into perspective for you, this is a normal bolter. If you choose to shoot two dudes, you just have a normal bolter. If you're thinking about Space Marines, how often do you shoot a normal bolter? How often is that the number one thing you should do, you know? Cool. Right, we then get Quick Draw. Once per turning point, when an enemy operative is performing the shoot action and this operative is selected as the valid target, or if it will be a secondary target from the blast weapon rule, if this operative is ready, you can interrupt that action to use this rule. If you do, this operative can immediately perform a free shoot action with its dual Kroot pistols. Focused. Okay, good. Against that enemy operative, you can change its order to engage to do so, but that enemy operative must be a valid target. So I like it. Great. In the past, when I was using Kroot Pistolier, the enemy just stopped 6.5 inches away and shot me, and I couldn't do anything. Obviously, now the fact that everything's gone to 8 inches is actually really significant, and again, worth its own video in discussion of how impactful is the difference between range 6 and range 8. But also, I think, I could be wrong, but they've added in here that you can change your order to do this, whereas before, I don't think that was possible. So that's nice. Cool. We then get to Pathfinders. Again, big up the Tau Empire. That's me. That's who I am. I'm a Tau main. That's right. Same hairstyle, right? A lot of factions are bald. Why is that? And why isn't it Space Marines? They should be the baldest, but they're not. Anyway, why are they... All right, let's not get into that discussion. Marker lights. So, 1 AP action. Select one enemy operative visible to this operative. That enemy operative gains one of your marker light tokens to a maximum of 4. If you're watching this, you know, but I'm going to say it. Do note, so somebody asked in a Reddit, hey, do I have to have, like, do they have to be a valid shootable target? David said, no, that's not how it works. This is one of those big things. If something just needs to be visible, then even though you mentally, thematically think you're shooting a gun, you're not. You just get to do it. It's very different. So visibility is a single line of, one imaginary 1 mil wide from your head to any part of their model. However, an operative cannot perform this action while within control range of an enemy operative. If an operative, excluding MB3 recon, would perform the shoot action, excluding guard, and this action during the same activation, only the target of that shoot action can be selected for this action. Cool. So that means that you can mark a light and then immediately shoot that target, which in general, if you can do that, it's probably a bit of a misplay from the enemy, but that's great. Cool. Tau Supremacy. Once during each of their activations, whenever an enemy operative that has any of your marker light tokens performs the dash, charge, fallback, or reposition action, remove one of those tokens. So that in itself is a huge difference. It used to be just, it doesn't matter what it used to be because we're not playing that game anymore. So now, if you perform any action in which you move, basically, you lose one of the marker light tokens. So Pathfinder marker lights you say, okay, well, I don't want to have that first thing, saturate. I dash. You lose it. Amazing. While only some Pathfinder operatives can perform the marker light action, all Pathfinder operatives can benefit from its effects. Good to stipulate, thank you. Whenever a friendly Pathfinder operative is shooting with a weapon from its data card, excluding Assault Grenadier's Fusion Grenade. Interesting. Okay. It has additional rules determined by the number of your marker light tokens the target has. These are cumulative, so if an enemy operative has 2 of your marker light tokens, the friendly operative shooting it has the rules for 1 and 2 tokens during that sequence. So, weapon on its data card, I'm just going to immediately assume that means if you have grenades, whether they are fusion grenades, which kind of I assume you might have, or your standard frag and crack, those don't get whatever these are, which is probably smart. The way Kill Team tends to be balanced is you shouldn't, there's no list building, you can't stack up combos, you can't build that engine. It just, it is what it is. Do your roll hits. So if you have 1 token, you've got Saturate, which is the old no cover. That means they can't retain any dice for being in light or heavy cover. Balanced, reroll a single dice. Although, do note, if you have balanced, you can never balance twice. Balance is a single checkbox keyword. So if you have a weapon that already has balanced and you now gain balance, you still only reroll 1 dice. 3, the target cannot be obscured. So this potentially is now actually a bigger deal because obscured because there's no longer non-reciprocal, and instead of non-reciprocal, the enemy will simply be obscured. You will in theory get to use non-obscuring a little bit more often. And then finally 4, Seek-like weapon rule, which of course mandatorily will be paired with Saturate. So that should mean shoot anyone unless they're behind heavy. And do keep in mind that from what we've seen of Killzone Vulcus, there's a lot of heavy terrain. There's not much light. So yeah. We then get the Photon Grenade. Once per turning point, a friendly operative that has the Marker Light action on their data card, excluding drone, can perform the following unique action. Photon Grenade, 1 AP. Select a valid target for this operative and roll 1d6 on a 3+ until the end of that operative's next activation. Subtract 2 inches from its moveset, and it cannot perform the dash action. Okay. You can't do it if you're in control range. How do we feel about that? It's not as bad as having to spend a CP or buy equipment just to do a thing, but it's still, you're doing an action, you're taking that negative, it's just, oh, roll a 3 up. Ooh. Hey. A third of the time it won't do anything. Oh, okay. Competitive game, is it? Jolly good. Point blank Fusillade. Use this firefight ploy when a friendly Pathfinder operative, excluding drone, is retaliating. If it wasn't within control range of enemy operatives at the start of that activation or counteraction. So what I'm doing right now is I'm reading as fast as I can and just blanking on everything I say. I don't know what I just said. I literally have no clue. I'm going to reread it. Use this firefight ploy when a friendly Pathfinder operative, excluding drone, is retaliating. Retaliating means an enemy used the fight action upon you, not that you fought. If it wasn't within control range of enemy operatives at the start of that activation or counteraction. Okay, cool. You can use one of its ranged weapons as a melee weapon, excluding a weapon that has the word grenade in its name, during that sequence. If you do, you cannot block during that sequence, and the following weapon rules have no effect on its weapons until the end of that sequence. Devastating Piercing Torrent. Okay, I like that. In the last edition, there was always a question of how does this actually work, because technically, you know, when you would resolve a shoot action versus when you would resolve a melee action, technically, like, the strike happens in a different order. So how does this work? And I had to FAQ it. This is very clear. You are fighting in melee, except you are using a gun. I like it. GG, GW. Then we get the Chasui Pathfinder. I believe the Chasui is, of course, our leader, because it literally says leader on his data sheet. APL 2, move 6, save 5, wounds 8. That is the same. That is the same. Pulse Carbine, attack 4, hit 3, damage 4, 5. You love to see that damage 4, 5. Very nice. Now he's getting hit 3. I'm going to assume, hold on, my brain is doing things. Let me scroll up. So, one of the big things about Marker Lights is that you had a way to get +1 hit. That was what you wanted because Tau hit on 4s, and that is bad. Ooh. Okay. Okay. This could mean, I'm just throwing it out there, guys. This could mean that Pathfinders are hitting on 3s instead of 4s. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Andy, bro, this is the leader. Leaders always hit on +1. Okay, mister, I haven't read the leaks. Go read the leaks, mate. I'm just saying. So, Art of War. Once per battle, strategic gambit. Select one of the following and apply its rules until the end of the turning point. Montcar, once per battle. Okay, yeah. Add 1 to the move stat of friendly Pathfinder operatives. Nice. Or, Kalyon, friendly Pathfinder operatives perform a free mark light action during their activation if they have a conceal order. Cool, so this sounds quite fun. This sounds like a really good time to, you know, if you don't want to think too much about Pathfinders, turn 1, Kalyon, you're all concealed. You can just mark light the entire enemy team. That's going to be what? 10, 11? I can't remember how many Pathfinders there are. Is it 12? But the recon drone takes 2? Something like that. So you could be 12, but the recon drone is always great. So you could be 11, 10 marker lights. Turn 1, that's pretty tasty. I like it. When they get to the Hierotek Circle, unfortunately, that is the Tau, the best race. Ooh. I should use a different word. The best faction in the game, done. But I do like Hierotek Circle too. So, reanimation protocols. I admire GW, but not. Okay. Right. Reanimation protocols was the worst written rule. Reanimation protocols was the worst written rule in the game. If you've watched my video, my top 5 worst kill team takes, one of the things was Hierotek Circle's reanimation protocols, and I actually noted in that I got it wrong. However, everybody else that also did release day content also got reanimation protocols wrong, and everybody got reanimation protocols wrong because it was terribly worded. Let's see what it has become, and I don't care what it's become, but is it good? Is it readable? Do I know what it does from reading it? Let's find out. The first time each friendly Hierotek Circle operative is incapacitated before it's removed from the kill zone, place one of your reanimation markers within its control range. Cool. Then remove it as incapacitated, also removing any tokens and rules effects it had. Okay. E.g. Chronomancer operatives, Chronometron action, poison tokens, APL stat changes being implanted, etc. Oh. It's interesting they should say being implanted, which kind of has a carry-on effect that if there's anything you ever need to tap it for a secondary, you can tap it again. Good note. Okay. So you die, you place a marker, which is a 20 mil object, within control range. Nice. Remove. In the ready step of each strategy phase, select one of your reanimation markers and roll 1d6. On a 1 to 2, leave that reanimation marker in the kill zone and repeat this process with a different one of your reanimation markers, if any. On a 3-up, an operative is reanimated. You can only select each of your reanimation markers once per turning point, and once you roll a 3-up, you don't select any more for that turning point. Okay, so that's a huge change. You do still get to attempt to reanimate all of your guys, but once you successfully reanimate on a 3+, you stop attempting to reanimate. So let's say your Cryptek, your big boy goes down, as big boys love to do, obviously. You roll a 1 or a 2, they stay dead. You go to your next guy, you roll a 3, they come back. Cool, fine. Next turning point, you can re-roll for your Cryptek. It's not like you don't get a 1-off. Okay, cool. You can only select your reanimation. Right. Whenever you get reanimated, set up the operative that reanimation marker was placed for. It's no longer incapacitated. It must be placed within 3 inches of that reanimation marker and not within control range of enemy operatives. If you cannot do so, treat the roll as 1 to 2 instead. Ah, okay. A lovely little addendum. I like it. Very good. It's saying, hey, you got this one back, but if the enemy has very stealthily cock-blocked you, so you can't actually deploy, it was a 1 and 2, go back, roll again. I like it. You don't miss out. Good. It's good. Good. Whether they chose to make it you miss out or you don't miss out don't really care, just the fact they've included that. It has D3 plus 1 wounds remaining, it has an order of your choice and is ready. Remove that reanimation marker. And of course, each operative can only be reanimated once. Cool, cool, cool. As reanimated operatives are no longer incapacitated. Oh wait, it has an order of your choice and is ready. This is happening in the strat phase. Yeah, that's fine. As reanimated operatives are no longer incapacitated for the purposes of this the kill op, this means your opponent's kill rate can go down. During the battle, they lose VP accordingly. However, it won't retroactively change any other VPs your opponent has scored, e.g. from tag ops. Cool. High living metal. Okay, so this is the key. This is the key. Can we figure out from a quick scan, is living metal happening before or after reanimation protocols? It will tell me. In the ready step of each strat phase, after resolving all other rules in this step, e.g. reanimation protocols, faction rule, each friendly Hierotek Circle operative gains D3 plus 1 lost wounds, roll separately for each. So you reanimate with D3 plus 1 wounds, which means you have 3 wounds. And then you get living metal, which is D3 plus 1 wounds, which is 4 again. So on average, you will come back with 8 wounds, which means every model that you reanimate with will not come back injured. I like it. Good. And you can only come back with 1. I think that's the way it should be. I believe that I read that wrong if I read that. Oh, I read that right. If I read that wrong, don't tell me. I want to live in ignorance. Ignorance is bliss, or so Cypher says. Tesla Weave. Whenever an enemy operative ends the charge action, inflict D3 damage on it for each friendly Hierotek Circle operative within its control range. Lovely. Lovely bit of tech. Lovely bit of tech. Very good. That's a good one. Hashtag, I'm going to run Tesla Weave. Living Lightning. Use this firefight ploy when a friendly Hierotek Circle immortal operative is performing the shoot action and you select a Tesla carbine. Okay. Until the end of that action, that weapon doesn't have the 2-inch from its devastating weapon rule, but has the blast 2-inch weapon rule. So, I spend a CP, I lose 2-inch from the devastating weapon rule. So devastating 2 goes. Doesn't have the 2 inches from its devastating weapon rule. Has the blast 2 inches. I think the first 2 isn't meant to have an inch symbol. So basically, let me run it through for you. You're shooting with a Tesla carbine. 2 from its devastating weapon rule. Let's assume it's devastating 2. That is, you would deal whatever your crit damage is. Let's say 3 plus 2 for devastating as soon as you retain the dice. So you'd effectively be doing damage 5, but not really. However, it's saying remove that. But as far as we know, there is no 2 inches from devastating. I think they've just put the inch number in the wrong place. And you would say get blast 2. So you get to blast stuff, which is lovely. Love to see it. Very good. Firefight ploy. So you can only do it with 1 weapon a turn. But if you're going into the enemy, hold on. Because Tesla did used to have something where you could hit multiple guys. It used to have blast. Is it saying that now it doesn't have blast? I'm confused by that rule. Okay. I don't know. Lovely jubbly. There used to be blast 1 inch, I swear. And now it's saying it loses devastating, which it didn't used to have, and becomes blast 2. Guys, I no longer wish to live in ignorance. Please correct my ignorance on living lightning. I understand what it's saying in the rule, but I don't think it's meant to be saying that. Am I dumb? Yes, but please explain living lightning to me. Thank you, you ledge. Death mark. APL 2, move 5, save 3, wounds 10. Move 5, I am outraged, sir. That should be move. 2 circle plus 1 triangle. Wounds 10. I think that's right, yeah. Cool, Synaptic Disintegrator. Attack 4, hit 2, damage 4, 3. Weapon rule, devastating 2. Heavy, dash only. Piercing 1, severe. So heavy dash only means that That is exactly what you think heavy is. Heavy now as a keyword means you cannot move at all, but we have heavy, dash only, meaning you can dash and then still shoot, but you can't reposition, charge, etc. Death marked. Whenever this operative ends the shoot action, the target gains one of your death marked tokens if it wasn't incapacitated. The primary target is relevant. Whenever a friendly Hierotek Circle Deathmark operative is shooting an enemy operative that has one of your Deathmark tokens, that friendly operative's ranged weapons have the Seek weapon rule. Nice. So, you shoot it, nothing special, you just give it a token. The next time you want to shoot it, you only need visibility. That's very tasty. So, Seek is such a powerful keyword now, because Seek means that you can shoot it through it having a concealed order behind light terrain and heavy terrain. All the versions of Seek we've seen so far have only been Seek light. That is the first actual Seek. True Seek. It's full range Seek. That is Seek, bro. Right, we then get multi-dimensional vision, 1 AP. Until the start of this operative's next activation, whenever it's shooting, enemy operatives cannot be obscured. So, nice. The death mark was never good. If I'm honest, it was never a good model. It never did as much damage as I wanted it to. It was quite sad. It now doesn't seem to have a deployment shenanigan, so it's just a different model now. But if you have to shoot something twice, I feel like you're not being very good anyway. That would be nice into elites. So, you know, like, I'm not going to poo-poo it too much. But with that weapon, you really shouldn't be having things actually being death marked. So, although that's fun, it shouldn't come up often. You should be getting one-shot kills with this guy. I mean, you've got Devastating 2. So, yeah, you've got Piercing 1, so they're only rolling 2. And then you've got Severe, which again, I think is if you roll a crit, a miss becomes a normal. Or if you don't roll a crit, a normal becomes a crit. I can't remember. I should probably read the rules. I don't know. Right, over to the Brew Brothers. Crossfire. I'm not... Guys, I wish we just had Tyranids. Genestealer cults are not a replacement for Tyranids. Anyone that thinks that, cringe. Get lost. Go back to 40k school, alright? Very different thing. Crossfire. Whenever a friendly Brew Brother operative is shooting against or fighting against an enemy operative, after resolving all of your attack dice, if that enemy operative isn't incapacitated, it gains one of your Crossfire tokens. Cool. Whenever a friendly Brew Brother operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against an enemy operative that has any of your Crossfire tokens, you can remove any of those tokens. For each that you do, you can reroll one of your attack dice. That is exactly the same as what it was. As mentioned, it seems like the things that were released in this final season haven't changed much. Let's keep going. Cult Talisman. Once per turning point, when an operative is shooting a friendly Brew Brother operative, excluding Patriarch, in the roll defense dice step, you can retain one of your normals as a crit. Cool. It's nice. Insidious. Firefight ploy. After an activation, before the next activation, you can perform a free dash action with one friendly Brew Brother operative, as long as it's not a valid target for an enemy operative when it starts and ends that action. Oh, okay. Interesting. So you can do a dash. Oh, after any activation. Okay, right. For some reason, I was thinking that in my head at the end of as the final thing in the turn. But no, just any activation, you can do a dash. Interesting. Okay. We then get the Icon Ward. APL 2, move 6, save 5, wound 7. Attack 4, hits 4, damage 3, 5. That is a large knife. Blimey. Okay, 3, 5. Shiz my niz. Cult Icon. Whenever determining control of a marker within 6 inches of this operative, treat the total APL stat of friendly Brew Brother operatives that contest it as 1 higher if at least one friendly Brew Brother operative contests that marker. Note, this isn't a change to the APL stats, so any changes are cumulative with this. So, let's have a think. When it comes to these, in the past, it was always a case of, it is the same here, because you treat the total APL stat. If you have 3 guys on there, and all 3 are APL 2, you don't become APL 9, you become APL 7. Thank you. Thank you. Brood Mind Devotion once per turning point. When a ready, friendly Brood Brother operative is incapacitated within 6 inches of this operative, you can use this rule. If you do, before that operative is removed from the kill zone, it can perform 1 free action, excluding fight and mind control. I think that's changed. I think before you could fight. Okay, nice. And you can change its order to do so. It's then incapacitated as normal. You cannot use this rule and the medic rule. See medic data card on the same operative at the same time. Nice. I know that, yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. I like it. 10-10 would bang. But not, I'd be unhappy about it because, you know, it's like looking in the mirror, you know. Right, we get the Hearthkyn Salvagers Grudge. I want to be clear. The Votann suck. They're not good. However, I love the idea of a grudge because, again, partly it's fun because it's like, you know, the guys who are all serious and gruff and they're like, but they're basically high school girls writing in their diary and that's their grudge. I like that. That's fun. It's both funny and cool if you decide to think of it, which way you think about it. Having a grudge, that's a grudging, that's a paddling. I like it. So I want this to be good. Let's go. Whenever an enemy operative incapacitates a friendly Hearthkyn Salvager operative, that enemy operative gains 1 of your grudge tokens for the battle. Whenever a friendly Hearthkyn Salvager operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against an enemy operative, for each of your grudge tokens that enemy operative has, you can retain 1 of your normals as a critical instead. Note the grudge tokens aren't removed when you do this. Cool. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So, Hearthkyn have had a real up and down go of it. Let's be honest. The grudge has always remained the same. So that means nothing regarding their power level. They could be super weak, as they were when they were originally brought out, or they could be super gangster, as they became. Excavation tools. Friendly Hearthkyn Salvagers operatives can perform the pickup marker action for 1 less AP, and don't have to control the marker to do so, taking precedence over that action's conditions. They only need to contest that marker. So you can pick things up for 1 less AP. Now, obviously, that's so again, that is actually pretty good now due to how many markers need to be picked up for TAC ops. So that's not bad. Not having to control it is actually bigger than 1 less AP there. But it generally means you're going to not have to control it, so you don't care about how many AP you have, and you do it for free because it's 1 less AP. That's pretty good, I would say. I reckon that's going to be a real tech piece. I don't know what I'm saying. Toil earned. Select 1 objective marker or 1 of your mission markers. Mission marker. Objective marker, I don't actually know the definition of a mission marker in the new rules. Okay. Whenever an enemy operative is within 3 inches of that marker, treat it as having 1 additional grudge token. Select 1 objective marker or 1 of your mission markers. Whenever an enemy operative... Oh, sorry. Okay, right. Okay, cool. All right, nice. So they have a grudge token when they are within 3 inches of an objective marker. That feels really, really good. Obviously, now that in Kill Team we're all going to have 3 objectives, it looks like. We don't know yet. We haven't played it, of course. But it looks like the central objective is going to be a real tug of war. Being able to always put toil earns on that middle marker means you're guaranteed crits. Hashtag strong AF. Strong as a dwarf. We again that get the Hearthkyn Cognitar. APL 2, move 5, save 3, wound 8. In your head, guys, is a dwarf the same speed as a Necron? Because that's what they've done here. Not sure how I feel about that. Probably is correct. Okay, fine. Hierotek Pattern Bolter. 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 3-4 accurate 1. They've given them accurate 1. Okay. Ion Blaster. 4-4, 3-4 piercing crits 1. Okay. Huh. Okay, so first things first. Piercing crits 1. People have been asking, how does it work? So we have piercing, that's the old AP. Piercing, penetration. I can't even remember. I'm not going to try and remember the old rules. We were wondering, how do we become P1, the old P1? So we are piercing on a crit. This is how now it becomes piercing crits 1. However, of course, we can immediately see that accurate 1 is going to pair really well with their grudge. It means just guaranteed 100% you deal a crit. That is tasty. But of course, piercing crits 1 means that you can become penetration 1. Is it penetration? It must be piercing. Means that you can become P1 and you just have to roll 1/4 up on 4 dice if the enemy has a grudge token. I think you go Ion Blaster, if I'm honest, because that on 4 dice you should roll a 4 up and you get P1. That's pretty good. Pretty good, mate. Pretty good, bruv. All right. Tactician, Strategic Gambit. Place either your attack or defense marker in the kill zone. Whenever a friendly Hearthkyn Salvagers operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against an enemy operative that's within 3 inches of your attack marker, you can reroll 1 of your attack dice. Whenever an enemy operative is shooting a friendly Hearthkyn Salvagers operative that's within 3 inches of your defense marker, you can reroll 1 of your defense dice. In the ready step of the next strat phase, remove that marker. Attack marker, you reroll 1 of your defense. Okay. Cool. So, alright. I assume that you can then also, for a CP, place the other attack or strategic marker? Maybe not. I just said that. No, you can't. I don't know why I think that. So you get to attack or defend, get a reroll. Nice. On defense or on attack. So Hernkyn Yaegirs. We would expect this to be very similar because, again, it is one of the teams released in the final season. Right, resourceful. In the ready step of each strat phase after the first, you gain resourceful points determined by the number of friendly. It's the same. There you go. You can either add 1 APL to its stat, or you can regain D3 plus 1 wounds. You're going to give it plus 1 APL. Nice. Right, Dauntless Explorers. Strategic Gambit at the first turning point. Each friendly Hernkyn Yaegirs operative wholly within your drop zone can immediately perform a free reposition action. Each friendly. First turning point. Everyone, wholly within your drop zone, immediately perform a free reposition. Each that does so must end that move wholly within 4 of your drop zone. Hold on, my brain. This used to be 3 guys. Now the whole team can move 4 inches forwards? Pretty good. Sorry. That's pretty good. Alright, cool. KV Ceramide Undersuit. Whenever an operative is shooting friendly Hernkyn Yaegirs operative, a friendly Hernkyn Yaegirs operative, if the ranged weapon in that sequence has a blast or tolerant weapon rule, you can reroll 1 of your defense dice. In addition, friendly Hernkyn Yaegirs operatives aren't affected by the X devastating X weapon rule. Devastating with a distance. Oh, okay. Unless they are the target during that sequence. So this gives us a little tickle of the gooch about what they possibly meant about the Tesla. So I was not aware that you could get this. So it's saying that you can have devastating within a blast. So if you have X inch devastating X, let's say 2 inch devastating 2, that would mean that everyone within 2 inches takes 2 damage. Just, we would have called it mortals, but mortals are gone. So just you take 2 damage. So now it's saying that's gone. And in the Necron example, it would be replaced by blast. So the weapon would keep devastating, but instead of doing devastating wounds to the enemy damage, you roll again. Interesting. Okay. Guys, I am no longer living in ignorance. I figured it out for myself. Thank you. Tough Survivalist. The first time an attack dice inflicts damage on each friendly Hernkyn Yaegirs operative during the turning point in the resolve attack dice step, you can halve that inflicted damage, rounding up to a minimum of 2. Interesting. So, again, I don't know what this used to be. I don't care. But a minimum of 2 in general, Kill Team had kind of decided that a minimum of 3 was supposed to be the number. A minimum of 2 is quite low. Okay. Jaeger Bombast. This guy was a beast, and he still is. So, APL 2, move 5, save 4, wounds 8. We see the range 9. Obviously, we already had that trickled to us through the leaks. Sorry, in this instance, what I mean when I say leaks is just the official rules in the last edition, because they gave him range red plus blue, as it should be. Slay King. Ceaseless Lethal 5. Wrought Negotiation. Strategic Gambit. This object can immediately perform a shoot action. You can change its order to engage to do so. Change this to a Strategic Gambit. I like. Very cool. Before, it was like the only thing that happened technically at the start of the firefight. So this is good. Just make it a Strategic Gambit. Very cool. I like it. Brazen Killer. Whenever this operative incapacitates an enemy operative with its Wrought revolvers, roll 1d6 separately for each other enemy operative visible to and within 2 inches of that enemy operative. If the result is higher than that other enemy operative's APL stat, subtract 1 from its APL stat until the end of its next activation. So you shoot a dude, and then the guy next to him has APL 2. What do you need to do? The result is higher. If you roll a 3 or higher, then -1 APL. Very good. Whew. Wormblade still exists. Much like the existing Overwatch rule, though Counteract has many more options and stipulations expanded on in the full rules, which you have all seen because of some knob jockey influencer that sold their copy and took full pictures of it. They live in Australia. Fucking hunt them down, G-dubs. Whatever. Let's not talk about it. Whatever. So anyway, that was a long-ass article. I'm not going to drag this out any longer. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. I found this infinitely more interesting than Chaos yesterday, and that just goes to show it's not that these rules were necessarily any better, purely my interest in what I was reading. Down with Chaos. I'm a Xenos lover, not a heretic.